I'm going to do a real quick stream today with my slightly new setup. I have a better camera, I have a better green screen, should look pretty good. I'm just going to do a really quick package update. I got an update from Repology, which is a site that tracks packages, and it says there's a new version of a package that I maintain, and that's what we're going to update. So it's called Skitch, and it is a Perl program. It's packaged like a Perl package, and it gives you an application. And its job is to manage database migrations. I actually have never used it, but I packaged it a long time ago when I was working in Perl and doing database migrations. So what Repology told me, and I believe it, is that this version number has incremented. Before we go any further, let's make sure it's really the latest version. If we go to download, source, GitHub, yes, 1.2.1. And we have some changes entries here. Let's see if we need them or if we can manage to get it out of the tarball. So I'm going to say make some over here, which will fetch the latest and do a checksum and record it. And so what that means now is in addition to the change I just made here, let's get that magic one. In addition to the change I just made, which you can see in the diff, there's also the change that make_some made, which was to fetch it and update the Blake 2S, the SHA 512, and the size. That is strange how much smaller it got. We'll have to check into that. That is very surprising. Did it say something about that? Oh, okay, it does. It says remove local subdirectory from the distribution, accidentally included in 1.2. Okay, well that accounts for it. So now we can say make patch in case there were any patches. I don't think there were. There were not. And then we can go hunting around in here for if the change log is available locally. Looks like it is. I like to copy that to a file called commit because I have a format I like to follow when I commit these updates. It's like so. Update to version number from the change log. And then everything after that I don't need. And then let's outdent that a little bit. How's that for line width? It's pretty okay. If I rewrap it, is it any different? Okay, so then it's good. So updated some tests and remove local from the distribution. That's it. So this should be pretty easy to say make and demonstrate that it works. I think I saw a warning message up there. So let's do this. Keep the output and standard error from make, and pipe it to a file. And that way I can look at it. Yeah, so there's a bunch of options for which database to build against. I didn't pick that. Aha. Okay. I missed this either in this update or a previous update, but it looks like there's something that is needed called algorithm backoff exponential, and that's an error. Now it's giving me some Perl instructions here, which is that I could do that and it would go get it for me, but this is package source. I want to get it the package source way. So let's see if there's something. It was called exponential, or maybe back off. Let's avoid worrying about capital letters. Algorithm backoff exponential. Do I really need to package that to do this? Algorithm backoff exponential. It's from algorithm backoff. Okay. Looks like I would need to package that. Is it really not here? It would be in package sources p5 algorithm backoff if we had it, and it seems like we don't. Okay, so I don't have time to do a slightly involved update, which means I'm going to have to come back later and create a package of Perl's algorithm backoff, and then add it as a dependency here to make that warning go away. So we'll do that another time. But thanks for watching my new setup, and I'll be back soon with another stream. We are going to pick up where we left off earlier. I have more time now. We are working today on package source, which you will see on your screen right up around here. And today what we're doing, I thought it was going to be a very short session, updating App-Sqitch from 1.2.0 to 1.2.1. But it turns out either there's a new dependency in this point release, or there's a new dependency in the previous major release that I missed. Either way, I missed it. And it is not currently in the list of, that's what I mean, it's not in the dependency list here on the left side, and it's not in package source, as far as I can tell. So I said, that's enough for that. That session needs to be short. We'll come back later. We're going to come back now. And what we're going to do is the package that was missing, if you look at the, we were in databases p5-App-Sqitch, and we made a build log so we could see if any errors happened. And you can see here, prerequisites, algorithm backoff exponential Perl module is not installed. You may wish to install the versions indicated before proceeding with its installation. I feel like that's what prerequisite means. Usually prerequisite means you do wish to install the versions of the modules. This is saying may. I'm going to take it more seriously. And it also says what look like good instructions if you're doing this by hand to get the prerequisites that are missing. Perl has its own Perl-specific, language-specific package manager. In fact, a variety of them that all are built on CPAN, the Comprehensive Perl Archive Network, which is where all these modules come from. But in package source, we are trying to control the build environment in a more general way. And so you can see here we already have quite a number of Perl modules available by package source paths, and with package source names, all with P5 in front of them. And the benefit of this, and that's why I want to follow the pattern here, is that we keep checksums, hashes, both, and sizes of the tarballs we expect to download so that it's repeatable. And we can compare them. And in fact, that was a really interesting comparison in the earlier video that I bumped from 1.2.0 to 1.2.1, expecting small changes. And of course, you know, the file name is different. It's got a 0.1 instead of a 0.0. The Blake 2S and SHA 512 are going to be different. It would be really surprising and suspicious if they weren't. And the size should probably, maybe, likely be similar but different. And it was not similar. It's an order of magnitude smaller. And that was suspicious, but it turns out in the changelog, what I missed was in the previous update that it got an order of magnitude bigger by mistake, that something was vendored into the tarball that shouldn't have been. And so this undoes that mistake, and that size change is not as suspicious as it looks. But so what I want to do is follow this pattern where these checksums are fixed so that when users do their own builds of binary packages from source, which they can do just like I do, that we make sure they get the same thing that I get, and that it produces the same thing that I will produce. We want it to be reproducible, step by step, or to fail if any of the steps can't be reproduced in the same way. That's the ideal case for package source. So what we need, as we saw, is a new package added. And it turns out, I was looking for where this module will be found, algorithm backoff exponential. And what I was able to figure out is that it comes from a more generalized algorithm backoff module, or package, I guess is the word. And that includes exponential as well as some other ones. But exponential is the one that we're specifically being asked for. So what I need to do is package algorithm backoff as a whole in package source, and then Sqitch will find it. So let's do that. What I need to do for that, I've done this before and I'll do it lots of times again as we work on package source, is that we need to find where there's a tarball, a versioned tarball with a stable URL for download. And this looks pretty good right here. This says download, and that's a good sign. It also says, if you can see in the status bar, it's got a pretty fixed path, and it's got a version number encoded into it. So it's not just like whatever's on the main branch. It's a release, and that's ideal. We don't have to work around anything to do that. So I'm going to copy that link, and we're going to pop over here, and I'm going to make a new Tmux pane, and I'm going to pop over into, I guess that's probably Devel. This is a good time to see what FreeBSD ports or OpenBSD ports would do, because as long as it's reasonable, I would do the same thing, provided they have this. So let's pop over into FreeBSD ports and see if they have P5 algorithm back off. No. Do they have P5 algorithm anything? Ah, okay. They have more than one. Algorithm. What was the one we're looking for? Exponential. Okay, so there's a lot of modules called p5 algorithm something. They're not, this particular one is not packaged in FreeBSD ports. Let's try OpenBSD ports and see if they have a, I guess I'll assume they have more than one. P5 algorithm start. What I'm doing here is there's always a category and then a package make file, and I'm assuming that I don't know what the category is, but I can let the shell tell me anything that follows this naming pattern. They have not this one either. Okay, so a clue, and this is what I was thinking. I was thinking we're going to probably wind up in Devel. This is a library, so it's for use in programming. That could go a bunch of different ways, but it's a library about an algorithm, and an algorithm is for sure for use in programming. So I think this is going to wind up in Devel, like so many of the FreeBSD P5 algorithm ones do. A couple of them are specific to math or science or text processing, but almost all of them are just Devel. And likewise here, mostly Devel, a couple math. So I'm going to follow that lead, and I'm going to go back into Devel, which might, whoops, which if I was in nowhere interesting and there wasn't a Devel, then it would wind up in package source again. That's where I want it to be. And we're going to make a directory called, I'm going to have to copy that path again. I want to call it P5. Hey now, let me copy that name. P5 this, but with a dash. P5 this, but with a dash. I'm going to cd in there. Let's clear up that one. And in here, I use the old standby URL to package. And now I need that tarball link. And this is going to give me a really good head start on a package. You can see right now, if I go into there on this side also, let's do it like this. I'll do a watch every 2 seconds of ls in this directory. So right now there's nothing. Yeah. And now I'm going to paste in where we get this tarball from. And right now it's not going to do anything for me. Well, it did a little bit. It started to make a make file, and it filled in probably an MTP list saying how to fill it in. Yeah. And it's going to do a little more in just a moment. So this is really helpful already. This is the module that we need without the tarball suffix. This is the category we said it goes in. This is where we download it from. Is there a home page for this thing? Probably no. Oh, there is. What's this? Ah, it's just that page. Okay, well, I'm gonna copy that and call that the home page. And I'm not super interested in caring about this again. I actually don't even use Sqitch, which we're trying to fulfill the dependency for, as it happened. At one point, I thought I might want to be going to use it. I think is the right tense to describe how contingent that possibility was. And I don't even use Sqitch, so I definitely don't want to care a lot about this dependency of Sqitch. Personally, I'm happy if anybody in package source updates it. I'm looking now, I forgot already, for a one-line comment saying what it is. And that's probably easiest to find on the main module page. Various back-off strategies for retry. That sounds good. That's our comment. And then we want to catch what the license is. If we have it, it's probably the Perl 5 license. And how is that called in package source? We can look in licenses. I think we could look in licenses. Oh, it's probably called artistic or something. Is it really? What? Let's see what's in there. Licenses. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for. I think the Perl license is usually dual. It's usually artistic or GPL, and I forget exactly which. And this is all from memory. So let's pop into. Oops. Let's do it over here. Let's pop into the directory and see if we can find artistic. Okay. Didn't love that result. Let's see if we can find. Nah, I can't remember. What is the Perl 5 license? Right. Perl 5 license is GPL 1 or later, or artistic. So I should be able to find. Let's look for fixed to the beginning of the line, and then we don't much care. But we want to look in only things that are P5. Let's see what we can. Okay, that's what. You can see a couple of them here. So there's not an explicit file in the licenses directory, but there is a variable provided by the package source infrastructure. I bet that expands to a couple licenses. So let's see, I could do that in a place that does have a package. So we'll go back into p5-App-Sqitch, for example, and then I can say make show var, which one? And this is a package source command. Make is make, but show var is a package source target, and this is a way of passing an argument, a parameter to it. So what does Perl 5 license expand to? That's exactly what I meant. And that's what I'm going to say for license. Perl 5 license. And while I'm at it, I don't know if that variable is provided yet. It might come from some Perl infrastructure. But I think I'm going to comment this out for now to not confuse anything in case the value is not provided. And I'm going to let URL to package finish its job. And remember to look over at the file listing here because it's going to fill in a little bit. And when it does, I bet our make file will fill in a little bit too. So let's save the make file, and URL to package is still running. It's holding my editor session open. And now it's URL to package that's needing to go and fetch the thing that I said and making sure we have some stuff. And it's going to have cleaned up the make file a little bit. After that, it probably knows where to get the Perl 5 module stuff. And it did. And it set license for me because it looked into the Perl module and figured it out. This is pretty handy. So we're in good shape here. We might be almost done. It also filled in the description for me, and it removed plist because Perl packages have dynamic packing lists. So what we need to do is make a good description here. And let's look back at the web page because that wasn't great. Algorithm backoff. Various backoff strategies. This distribution provides several classes that implement various backoff strategies for setting delay between retry attempts. Doesn't say that anywhere here. I'm going to just write a little bit, by which I mean paste. And then let's give a couple examples of which strategies it provides by copying this. Wrap that line. Paste what we got. Okay, so those are some things. And we can just go like so. That's a good description. Okay, it's no longer interesting to watch what's changing in the file listing. You can see one more thing you can see in the work directory. a lot of dot files and dot directories. Package source made those. And algorithm backoff itself, which is what the tarball extracts to. And so if you were to download it yourself and extract it yourself, this is the stuff you would see. So let's head in there and see if we have all of its dependencies. This is always the fun game. What's at least nice about that is that once you have captured these dependencies, you never have to think about them again. And that's one of the reasons I love a package manager. You just have to keep the dependencies in sync and then get what you want and have what you want. Looking for requires. That's a test requires. Distzilla. Oh no, here, this is more of the stuff. So most or maybe all of this is built into Perl, and this is always the question. Which of these do we need to specify in order to get them as dependencies? So a way to do this, I don't know if it's the best way, but it is a way, is to locate file spec.pm. I did a little path transform here from what I know about Perl modules, which is that the double colon is Perl's module namespace separator, and it winds up being represented one-to-one on the file system, since this is a Unix system with a forward slash. And then I happen to know there's a top-level module in that distribution. There may be others, but there's a top-level module with the same name as a module, which means you could find it as a file with a .pm suffix. And so I'm going to look for where we have that. And you can see a possibly inconclusive answer, which is that the Perls that have come with this system include it. The Perl that I installed from package stores includes it, and then somehow something depended on it being installed as a package source package by itself also. So I think we're safe. So for this one, file spec, we're safe saying don't worry about it. Version number 0 means any version is fine. And the third line of my search results over here are showing that system provides it. Let's look for IO handle. I'm pretty sure that's a built-in. If I programmed in Perl more often, I would probably just know the answers to these. IO handle is included in the system Perl, so we're not going to have to do anything special for that. IPC open 3, I'm less sure about. Also included. Okay. Test exception. Again, version 0. This would be more finicky. It will be more finicky for test more, where it specifies a particular version. So let's look for test exception.pm. We have it. Test more. We have it. Fourth line in the list. And is it an appropriate version is the question. You can just look at it. Thanks to Perl being some text, we could just look at it. Version is well beyond 0.98, so that's fine. No specific dependency. And test number delta, I had never heard of that before. Be surprised if we have it. Test number delta.pm. Okay, the system Perl, which package source is not going to use, has a test number delta. So we presumably need, maybe there's a package called test number. Let's head back to cpan and look for test number delta and see where that comes from. It's its own thing. Okay. Now we got to roll the dice. Is this one in package source, or am I shaving a yak? Let's find out. Do we have something called delta? What was it? Yes, it's in there. This is usually my experience with package source and packaging, is that the stuff that I need to get the stuff that I need is already there to be dependent on. So this is a little more typical of a case. Okay, so, and the version required is 0, so this is pretty straightforward. get back into our make file, and we're going to add a dependency. And first, we depend on the name of what the installed package would be, and a version pattern, which in this case is any number. And then we have a physical path. If it's not present, where would we build it from? That's where we would build it from. And that should do it. Xutils make maker, I'm quite sure is included. Xutils make maker. Yes, very much is. Huh. Hello. Oh, I thought I was over here. Requires. Okay. So those were this is a build dependency. So I think what that's trying to say, probably this is a test depend. So I'm going to make a note of that. We don't actually need it to build. Let's test that hypothesis. These are the runtime dependencies. So definitely we have a sufficiently new Perl. Parent, I'm sure all these things exist. Strict and warnings, I'm sure I know exist. I wrote enough Perl to remember that. And do we have a time high res? And is it a new enough one? Time high res. Yeah, and it is a new enough one because version 0. So I don't think we have to declare any dependencies. There's a good chance we don't have to declare any dependencies. In that case, friends, we should be able to say make. Yeah. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Yeah, you can see it's warning me that the prerequisite test number delta is not found. I don't know if that matters at runtime or not. We should probably look. But let's see about our tests. I bet it makes the test fail if it matters. Okay, so let's do that again while capturing the output. So we can look at it. Hey, come back here. What? Oh, I see what happened. I switched my... Yeah, okay. I switched to my tmux pane that I didn't want. Yes, so we're trying to run make test, and it's running it like so. Some tests pass. Some of these tests are just for the author, which we're not. We're just a packager. And then some tests fail because we don't have test number delta, because I pretended that it's not that important to see what would happen. And those are the tests that fail. So the question is it the tests that need them, or is it the code that needs them to pass the test? Let us look at t constant.t. My hypothesis is that this is only used by tests. Ah, yes, I have to work in here. Line 6. Yes, this wants to use test number delta. So let's do this. Let's get into here, and let's look for test number delta. And where does it appear? It appears in some YAML files, some JSON files, some ini files, a makefile.pl. And as far as something that's interpreted by Perl goes, just the test. So I think we're right here. I think we're right to say this is a test dependency, which is less important to encode. We should see the tests pass. Let me make sure I remember how test depends are declared by looking at some other package. Just like that. Okay. So I'm going to say test depends. And this mechanism in package source doesn't actually work that well. We'll see in a moment. I'm going to make clean. We're going to pretend we're starting from scratch. What we have here, we'll do a make. That's going to go fine. Not a lot of building to do. Now we're going to do make test, and we're going to find that I don't have test number delta installed. And it's going to try to go build it, and it's going to confuse itself about permissions or whatever. Yeah, because test depends doesn't work that well. So we're going to pop out and do it by hand as though it were a regular build dependency. That would have succeeded. So we're going to math, p5, test, number delta. And just have this take care of itself. I don't know what's wrong with the test depends target, and I'm just not that motivated to care about it. For the amount of times that I run package tests, it seems okay. Maybe another time. Okay, so we'll make clean here and make test. Go straight for make test, and this time the dependency will be present and the test path. So this seems fine. Then I would do a make package, which again, this has a dynamic packing list. It's going to just work. I can do a make install. If we really want to, we can try the examples. If there are some. Does this one have one? It's a little involved. Okay. Well, so I could say use one of these and we would see that it loads. Let's just do that. And we can do that with Perl E. And you can see there was no error code, and just to show what an error code would be like, invented module. Not there, does have an error code. Okay, so I consider that this does what I need, and while I'm at it, I want to get rid of p5 test number delta. That wasn't on my list for today. And I think we're almost ready to commit. What we can do now is run package lint. Oh yeah, I got a log file lying around. And if I don't, it looks fine. So we're going to commit this one, and then we can pop back up the stack to Sqitch, which was the thing I was trying to update. That I had claimed was going to be a trivial update. So here we go. I always go back to the instructions for this, which are in the package source guide, and I just look for where it says CVS add. We're going to do that. So come back up into the category, which is devel, and we're going to do this. And CVS is precious about directories. They are not versioned, but they do have to be intended. And let me not even get into what happens on updates. It's not that nice. Okay, we cd back in, and now we CVS add what's here, which is really just description, make file, and dist info. And we can skip ahead. There aren't any patches. I'm sure I added everything. Let's go straight for the commit. So I say initial, oh no, I can say it like this, add p5 algorithm back off. And now I like to take the comment from the make file as a one-liner. Various backoff strategies for retry. And then here I like to take what's in, yeah. Okay, we could shorten this. Okay, that looks good. That's a commit message. Send that on up to package source. Now we come up a level and make sure we add it to the make file. p5 algorithm right about here should be good. Somehow I didn't copy the whole thing into my paste buffer. Let's make sure my only change to this make file is the one I just made. It is. Add and enable. This is for recursive makes. Add and enable. Whoop. Okay, somebody else has updated this since, so we're going to have to catch me up and check again that I'm making a one-line change that I think I'm making. Cool. An active project. Add and enable this one. And then we come back in there. Make C type equals add. This is for the package source change log. Usually it says a package was updated. In this case, it says a package was added. And now it will be present. And that means we can pop back out to Sqitch, which is what we were trying to do when we discovered that this is not installed. Algorithm backup exponential. So I'm going to take that thing at its word, and we are going to install it, following the same pattern. And plus equal p5. Whoa! Right. I have a different clipboard now. Forgot about it. Depends p5 algorithm backup. Does it need a particular version? This is where we check. App-Sqitch, my meta, one of those. Back off. 0.006. Okay, we can encode that. You can see we have, for example, config get-like greater than or equal to 1.15. That's what that means. So we'll do the same thing. Greater than or equal to 0.006. And where do we get it from? // p5 algorithm back off. Thank you, file complete. So now pop out of here. Make sure we save this one. Make clean. And then I bet we have our dependencies this time. Not going to see any warnings going by now. Indeed not. It went to get p5 algorithm back off. Now it's building this one. Now we have it. I guess let's see about tests for this fellow. You probably want your database change management tools to be passing their tests. This is the kind of thing you want your self-tests to run, so I'm going to run them. I thought I ran them last time I updated. Anyway, here they are. Make package. And it's fine. I don't have it installed, so I don't need to uninstall it from last time. And what does package lint say? It says I'm still with this thing being open. And other than that, I think we're in good shape. Let's see about the commit file. Yes, this is exactly right. So in this case, this is much easier than adding a package. I do this often enough to remember. I'm going to say commit, and I'm going to bring back my recent history where after it's committed, with that commit message, it removes the file and it makes a changes entry. And then we have a package update completed. Good. And then one more thing I like to do. Package source itself is managed in CVS. I like to manage my packages also individually in their own Git repositories. And so you can just get a quick recap of what I just changed by looking at Git. You can see netbsd CVS ID tag was updated because the revision to makefile was incremented by one. Hey, remember revision control systems where versions were monotonically increasing? Yeah, this was like that. I bumped the version number. I added the dependency that we discovered was missing, which we just committed. Again, the list of the checksums has also been updated. And that's it. Nothing else needs to have changed. Nothing else did change. So I'm going to say what I always say here, which is not that. Track upstream CVS trunk. Because I just use my Git as like a handy mirror of what's in CVS. It used to be more useful than that when I traveled a lot and could work offline. It's still handy when I'm sort of occasionally testing more invasive changes to packages. I don't usually do that, but sometimes. So there we go. We updated Sqitch. We'll find it in package source. We did what we had to do to get a dependency added so that we could update Sqitch correctly to the best of our knowledge. And that's it. A relatively simple package update except for the new dependency that it required. That was some package source stuff, and I'll be back next time. Thanks for joining my stream.